So when I talk with students, I say, where do you think the stinky, smelly, toxic asphalt plants are in Durham? Do you think they're next to the country club and Duke University? Or do you think they're in a less affluent community of color next to the highway? And young students almost always get the answer right. They say it's in poor neighborhoods in East Durham, near a highway.
Basically, what environmental racism is polluters systematically polluting on communities of color.
So I was at a city council meeting. I was getting ready to talk about a development on 9th Street. And these guys in gray suits went up there and kind of saying, this is a real simple request. We just want you to move the distance that an asphalt plant can be built from a house in Durham from, I think it was 1,500 feet to 600 feet. And my ears perked up because I work in environmental health, and I know that asphalt fumes have carcinogens in them. And the first thing I asked for from planning staff was a map. I said, could you please, if this measure is passed, please produce a map that shows where the asphalt sites would be, where you could build an asphalt plant. And the map was very telling in that 9 of the sites were in East Durham, and 1 site was in West Durham, near the Kroger on Hillsborough Road. And I showed the map to the asphalt industry, and they said, oh, don't worry, John, we had no plans to build anything in West Durham, which immediately was a mistake on their part, because that's a clear case of environmental justice, environmental racism when they said that. Industry tried to argue that this was good for the economy, and our response to that was, how could that be good for the economy? You have trouble breathing, your lungs seize up, you cough, you have irritation, your eyes get watery. Who would want to invest in any of the parcels near the asphalt plant? Because it would smell, and you wouldn't have any, you'd have like a barren landscape, because no one would want to build next to an asphalt plant. So you're actually not contributing that much, number one. Number two, only 2 people working in an asphalt plant.
There's this really famous memo that was leaked by then, at the time, president of the World Bank, Larry Summers. And this was back, I believe, in 1991 or 1992. Since then, he went on to be the president of Harvard. He was an economic advisor to both Bill Clinton and President Obama, somebody who's very powerful in Washington. And the memo that was leaked talked about how dumping on the poor is basic Econ 101. Basically, if you and I both have jobs and you make $50,000 a year and I make $100,000 a year, we should locate the polluting facility in your community, because if you lose a day of work, you're adding less to society than what I can add to society.
And by the time we got there, it was kind of the asphalt industry was getting a lot of negative press. They asked the city manager to take the measure off, because they counted votes before the vote. And they asked the city manager to take the measure off the agenda. So I picked up the phone, I called the mayor. He was in a meeting with Ren Bowman, Durham Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I asked the secretary to interrupt the meeting, and she did. I said, Ren's a friend of mine, he'll understand. And I said, Mayor, would you please put it back on the agenda and vote it down tonight? The vote was that night. And he agreed to do it, and they voted it down. You cannot do that in Greensboro or Charlotte or Atlanta or any other town I know of. You can do that here because the neighborhoods have a voice in Durham. Why do the neighborhoods have a voice? I think it's partially because we don't have a big, huge bank in town or a big industry in town. We have Duke, biggest employer, they're over there, but they don't dominate local politics. So we're not like Charlotte, where if you want to build a stadium, you get 5 white guys together in a room and decide we're going to build the stadium right there, and no one's going to stop us. Here, there's neighborhoods, and neighborhoods have a voice, and we can kill something in 5 days.